"Look at me," he demanded. "Look at me, Sookie." I felt the bed indent, and I assumed Ray Don was kneeling beside it and leaning over to my wound. There was a jar in the torn flesh of my side that jolted me down to the marrow of my bones. I felt the blood leave my face, and felt hysteria bubbling up my throat like my blood was leaving the wound. "Don't, Sookie! Look at me," Eric said urgently. I looked down to see that Ray Don had grabbed the stake. Next he would... I screamed over and over until I didn't have the energy. I met Eric's eyes as I felt Ray Don's mouth sucking at the wound. Eric was holding my hands, and I was digging my nails into him like he were doing something else. He won't mind, I thought, as I realized I'd drawn blood. And sure enough he didn't. "Let go," he advised me, and I loosened my grip on his hands. "No, not of me," he said, smiling. "You can hold on me as long as you want. Let go of the pain, Sookie. Let go. You need to drift away." It was the first time I had relinquished my will to someone else. As I looked at him, it became easy, and I retreated from the suffering and uncertainty of this strange place. The next thing I knew, I was awake. I was tucked in the bed, lying on my back, my formerly beautiful dress removed. I was still wearing my beige lace underwear, which was good. Eric was in bed with me, which was not. He was really making a habit of this. He was lying on his side, his arm draped over me, one leg thrown over mine. His hair was tangled with my hair, and the strands were almost indistinguishable. The color was so similar. I contemplated that for a while, in a sort of misty, drifting state. I pulled down the covers to check out my side. I was still in pain, but it was greatly reduced. There was a large circle of scar tissue on the side of the wound. It was hot and shiny and red and somehow glossy. "It's much better," Eric said, and I gasped. I hadn't felt him rouse from his suspended animation. Eric was wearing silk boxers. I would have figured him for a jockeyman. "Thank you, Eric." I didn't care for how shaky I sounded, but an obligation is an obligation. "For what?" His hand gently stroked my stomach. "For standing by me in the club, for coming here with me, for not leaving me alone with all these people." "How grateful are you?" he whispered, his mouth hovering over mine. His eyes were very alert now, and his gaze was boring into mine. "That kind of ruins it when you say something like that," I said, trying to keep my voice gentle. "You shouldn't want me to have sex with you just because I owe you." "I don't really care why you have sex with me, as long as you do it," he said, equally gently.